Well, my goodness, it is very strange indeed how things tend to work themselves out. There's a word, it's called karma. Yeah, it's karma. Of course, the other night, there was a Connecticut Sun-Indiana Fever game.
What goes around comes around, and Marina Mabrey just learned that lesson the hard way. After getting away with a dirty play on Caitlin Clark that should have gotten her ejected, Mabrey walked off the court thinking she was untouchable. The referees gave her a slap on the wrist, the WNBA quietly upgraded her foul after the game, and she even bragged about making money from the controversy on TikTok. But 3 days later, Paige Bueckers served up the justice that the officials couldn't deliver, serving Mabrey some instant karma. Do you agree that this was instant karma? Let us know in the comments below. Let's go.
J.C. Sheldon viciously poked Caitlin Clark in the eye, and as she was reeling from that, Marina Mabrey came in with the Kennedy Carter body slam heard around the world, just slammed into the side of Caitlin Clark and sent her viciously flying to the floor.
The moment Marina Mabrey launched herself into Caitlin Clark, sending the superstar crashing to the floor, you could feel the entire arena hold its breath. This wasn't some accidental collision during a fast break. This was a full-speed blindside hit that came right after J.C. Sheldon had already poked Clark in the eye. Mabrey saw Clark's frustration building and decided to pour gasoline on the fire.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
All they had to do was just eject her. All they had to do was eject her, and none of this happens. If the referees had ejected Marina Mabrey, nothing else happens. The Sophie Cunningham situation does not happen.
Let's be real about what happened here. Mabrey came charging across the court with zero intention of making a basketball play. She threw her entire body into Clark like she was trying to tackle her for the Indianapolis Colts. The force sent Clark stumbling backward, and you could see the shock on her face. This wasn't a foul. It was assault disguised as basketball. The crowd erupted immediately. Even casual fans who barely know the rules could see this crossed every line of basic sportsmanship. Arena cameras caught fans jumping out of their seats, pointing at the replay boards in complete disbelief. Commentators called it exactly what it was: a deliberate act of aggression that had no place in professional basketball.
Of course, many of you were like, can we ban her? I said I thought she ought to get 10 games for the incident, really and truly. And part of that is, simply put, send the rest of the league a message. The WNBA missed an opportunity to take that. By the way, referees completely bleeped that whole thing up. I mean, they effed it up royally, right? And then after the fact, they came back and said, oh yeah, it's a flagrant 2. You don't say. You don't say. Kathy Engelbert, get some real referees and fire every one of them.
Here's where it gets absolutely ridiculous. The officials looked at this blatant body check and somehow decided Mabrey deserved just a technical foul. But wait, it gets worse. They also gave Clark a technical for pushing back after getting her eye gouged. You read that right. The victim got penalized while the aggressor walked away with a slap on the wrist. Coach Stephanie White was furious, and she had every right to be. She told reporters after the game, "I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen." White called out the league's failure to protect Clark, saying this was a problem that had been building all season long. The Fever coach wasn't holding back anymore. The WNBA knew they messed up. Hours after the game ended, they quietly upgraded Mabrey's foul to a flagrant 2, basically admitting their officials got it completely wrong. But by then, the damage was done. Mabrey had already walked off that court thinking she was untouchable.
So Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye. Marina Mabrey doesn't even see what happens, and she just decides to clean Caitlin Clark out of it. And the referees just said, nah, it was not worth an injection. So Caitlin dribbles. Look at how far she is away from the ball, by the way. Look at how far she is away from the ball. Like, that's literally, she's nowhere near the ball. She just jumps at her face. And then she belly bumps Caitlin. Caitlin retaliates by shoving in an unsportsmanlike manner, according to the referees. And then Marina Mabrey just comes from nowhere.
Guess what Mabrey did next? She posted on TikTok bragging about the whole situation, saying, "Every time they comment, I make dollars." She was actually proud of body checking Clark and getting away with it. Mabrey thought she had beaten the system and could profit from her dirty play.
But Marina Mabrey commented on TikTok about the whole situation, and this is what she said. Every time they comment, I make dollars.
But karma has a funny way of keeping score. While Mabrey was celebrating her payday and the officials were scrambling to fix their mistakes, the Fever players were watching. They decided if the referees wouldn't protect Clark, they'd handle it themselves. Sophie Cunningham had that look in her eyes. You know the one. Stone cold, calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As the final minute of the Fever's dominant 88-71 victory ticked away, Cunningham wasn't thinking about celebrating. She was thinking about payback. The Fever had spent the entire game watching officials ignore blatant fouls on Clark. Every hard hit, every cheap shot, every eye poke went unpunished while their star player got beaten up. Cunningham's protective instincts were boiling over, and she had been watching J.C. Sheldon all game long. The same J.C. Sheldon who started this whole mess by poking Clark in the eye.
Can't keep my hands to myself. I mean, I could, but why would I want to?
Mabrey. That's a flagrant foul.
This was the most beast mode thing that I've seen a woman do in WNBA history.
This wasn't some heat-of-the-moment reaction. Cunningham made a calculated decision to send a message that would echo throughout the entire league. When she saw her opportunity, she took it. She wrapped her arms around Sheldon and brought her straight to the ground in what officials immediately called a flagrant 2 foul. The impact was exactly what Cunningham intended. Sheldon hit the floor hard, and the officials had no choice but to eject Cunningham immediately. But she didn't care about getting thrown out. She had accomplished her mission. The message was sent loud and clear.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, "Sophie, Sophie." Sophie's jersey is going to sell out tonight. She's going to be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul, and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle, and I don't think anybody wanted that.
The crowd's reaction told you everything you needed to know. Fever fans erupted in approval, jumping to their feet and cheering as Cunningham walked off the court. Social media exploded with fans praising her willingness to stand up for Clark. Some even suggested Cunningham's actions would earn her an All-Star spot just for defending her teammate. This moment changed everything for the Fever. They established themselves as a team that wouldn't let Clark get bullied anymore. Other teams across the league took notice. You can't just target Caitlin Clark without consequences anymore because her teammates will make you pay for it.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, JC Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and JC are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
Cunningham's actions sent a league-wide message, but the basketball gods weren't finished delivering justice yet. While Cunningham handled Sheldon, Marina Mabrey had walked away clean from her dirty body check on Clark. She was still bragging on social media, still collecting her controversy dollars, still thinking she was untouchable. But 3 days later, Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings would deliver the most perfect form of karma anyone could imagine.
Well, something happened last night during the game. All right, Mabrey was trying to guard Paige Bueckers. And all of a sudden, the winds of karma came blowing through the arena.
Just 3 days after Mabrey had body-checked Caitlin Clark and walked away laughing, karma came calling in the form of a devastating crossover that left her crumpled on the Dallas court. Marina Mabrey stepped onto the court against the Dallas Wings, completely unaware that justice was about to be served. She was still riding high from her controversial payday, still bragging on TikTok about making money from attacking Clark. Mabrey had no idea she was about to face Paige Bueckers, who doesn't play games when it comes to basketball. The moment built slowly as Bueckers brought the ball up court. Mabrey stepped up to defend, confident and cocky like she had been all week. She positioned herself to guard one of the most skilled players in college basketball history, thinking this would be just another routine defensive possession. She was wrong.
This is last night, folks.
Off the floor. Let's take
Right
a look
here,
and see
You see
what
Marina
led to this
being escorted off the
shakeup.
floor. That's right. And this was the only thing I could find. But here, you're going to see it. Watch her ankle.
Oh,
I mean, Paige Bueckers
just
puts a
kinda
move on
planted
her.
wrong,
and
hyperextended her knee
it-
a little bit.
Broke her ankle. And it may have literally,
And she's going
broke
straight
her
back into
ankle.
the locker room.
Heading down the tunnel right now.
but that was
Bueckers has
it.
that handle.
That was it.
to
That was
this-
literally the move. And
Bueckers started with a subtle hesitation move, just enough to get Mabrey leaning the wrong way. Then came the crossover. Bueckers shifted her weight, changed direction with lightning speed, and sent Mabrey's ankle into a completely different time zone. The Connecticut Sun player went down hard, grabbing her left knee as she hit the court. The timing was perfect, the execution was flawless, and the result was exactly what basketball fans had been waiting for. Mabrey stayed on the ground, needing assistance to get back to her feet. The crowd's reaction was immediate and electric. Bueckers just kept walking, calm as can be, like she had just completed the most routine play in basketball. No celebration, no showboating, just pure professionalism after delivering the most satisfying crossover of the season.
one more time so you can see it. One more time right there. I mean, oh boy. And that may have been all she wrote. And a lot of people today are like, well, karma may have just come a calling. All right, this is last night. Right here, this is Mabrey being escorted. She's going to be escorted right here. You can see that to the locker room.
Social media went absolutely crazy. Fans called it the most poetic justice they had ever witnessed. The contrast was perfect. Mabrey bragging about making dollars from her dirty play versus Mabrey on the ground needing help to walk. The same player who had been so arrogant about body-checking Clark was now the one getting helped off the court. This play became something bigger than basketball. When the officials failed to deliver real consequences for dirty play, Bueckers stepped up and handled business the right way. She didn't throw cheap shots or resort to dirty tactics. She just played basketball at the highest level and let her skills do the talking. Bueckers accomplished what the referees couldn't do. She delivered actual consequences for Mabrey's actions against Clark. While officials were busy upgrading fouls after games and missing obvious calls, Bueckers was out there protecting the integrity of the game through pure basketball excellence.
Generally speaking, is it bad policy to celebrate anybody getting injured? Yeah, I'm not sure a lot of people are just blatantly celebrating this, but you can be damn sure a lot of people went, oh, how about that? The WNBA did not have the guts to suspend her, so the winds of karma. She's a cold blistering bitch that comes rolling through from time to time on people. The winds of karma came a-calling on Marina Mabrey last night against Paige Bueckers.
Dallas Wings 86, Connecticut Sun 83. The worst team in the league had just beaten the Connecticut Sun Bullies, and the basketball gods couldn't have written a better script. This wasn't just another regular season game. This became the perfect showcase for why karma works in mysterious ways, especially when officials fail to do their jobs. From the opening tip, the Wings systematically picked apart everything Connecticut tried to do. The Sun came into Dallas thinking they could bully their way to another victory like they had against the Fever. Instead, they found themselves getting outplayed, outcoached, and completely outclassed by a team that was supposed to be easy pickings.
I mean, we don't know how bad that ankle injury is or anything like that. We don't know if she's going to miss any time. But it's funny how the world works. You know, it's strange how the world works. Sometimes you just do bad onto somebody else, the winds come blowing back in your direction at some point.
Paige Bueckers put on a clinic that had Connecticut players looking completely lost on defense. Every time they tried to pressure her, she found the perfect pass or created her own shot. The Suns' defensive schemes fell apart every single possession. Their players were reaching, grabbing, and desperately trying to contain someone who was operating on a completely different level. Marina Mabrey's injury became a massive liability for Connecticut. She was moving like she was stuck in quicksand, unable to keep up with Dallas players who were running circles around her. The same player who had been so aggressive and physical against Caitlin Clark was now struggling to even stay on the court. Her limited mobility exposed weaknesses throughout the Suns' entire defensive system.
The supposed next Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, is the one that, well, them ankles ain't gonna be the same. I mean, that ankle fell off and went rolling around on the floor. It's crazy. It's crazy. Again, nobody's celebrating the injury. I don't like seeing anybody getting injured, but it's just strange how the karma, quote unquote, the karma works.
Post-game interviews told the whole story. Connecticut players struggled to explain their complete breakdown against a Dallas team they should have dominated. They talked about execution problems and missed opportunities, but everyone watching knew the real issue. The Sun had spent so much energy trying to intimidate opponents that they forgot how to actually play basketball when it mattered. This game proves something important about the WNBA. When officials refuse to hold players accountable for dirty play, the basketball court becomes the ultimate judge. Marina Mabrey walked away from her body check on Caitlin Clark thinking she was untouchable. 3 days later, she was limping off the court with an injured knee after Paige Bueckers served up some ice-cold justice. The final score showed more than just another Wings victory. It showed that karma finds a way to balance the scales, even when referees can't figure out how to do their jobs properly.
WNBA couldn't do the right thing. WNBA was handed an opportunity to send a message to the rest of the league. We're done with this crap. Caitlin Clark is the money maker in this league. You know, you guys have got to quit doing her like this. By the way, I think that affected the Fever and Caitlin Clark in their next game against the Valkyries. I do. Like I said, it turned out to be a national story outside of the sports world.
This whole sequence proved something important about professional sports. When officials refuse to hold players accountable, the game itself becomes the judge. Marina Mabrey thought she could body check Caitlin Clark and walk away laughing. 3 days later, she was on the ground with an injured knee after Paige Bueckers delivered perfect justice. The Fever's unity changed everything. Sophie Cunningham's willingness to get ejected defending Clark sent a message throughout the league. Bueckers' crossover proved Clark has allies everywhere, even on opposing teams. These moments forged something stronger than just team chemistry. Clark enters 2025 with real protection and respect she never had before. Do you agree that this was instant karma? Let us know in the comments below. Let's go! Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.